Hey guys, welcome to the last video. We're going to learn the last two rules for our exponent rules. So far we've learned how to add, which is the product rule of the exponents, power, which is to multiply the exponents, quotient, which is to subtract them, and all that's left is negatives and zeros. So these two are pretty special. So for a negative rule, see how we have a negative exponent? We don't like negatives above. So, did you know that there is also an invisible number underneath this x? Well, think of it like this. Under every number is an invisible 1. Always and forever. 6, 5, 15, 432, any number in the world has an invisible number underneath it. So, we have an invisible 1 underneath our x. What we need to do is, since we don't like negatives, and to do the inverse operation, which means the opposite operation, instead of having the negative on top, we're going to essentially move this whole x and its negative a exponent to the bottom and flip the 1 to the top. The reason why is because we need to flip them. What you do to the top, you need to do to the bottom. So now, if I move my exponent and my x to the bottom, it makes my exponent positive. So now I have x to the positive a as my denominator, and 1 is going to go to the top. So now I essentially have a fraction, or division. All you need to do if it's a negative, just the exponent, just the x and its exponent, flip it to the bottom. Okay, so let's look at the one down here for our first example. So my negative 5, I have negative 5x to the negative 2. First, I need to draw my line and put a 1 underneath it. This helps me remember that I need to flip the x to the bottom with its exponent. Now remember that this is negative 5 times x to the negative 2. So, in order to make the x with its exponent positive, you need to take this and flip it underneath. I'm going to leave the negative 5 alone and above it. The reason why is because there's no negative exponent attached to it, or an x. So on top, I have negative 5 times 1, right, because I flipped the 1, over x to the power of 2. Because remember, if I flip it from the top to the bottom, it's going to become a positive. So my final answer is negative 5 times 1, which is just going to be negative 5, over x squared. And I'm done. I don't need to do any more steps. I don't need to simplify, divide, multiply, nothing. That is my final product, final answer. So for the next one here, I'm going to start from left to right. So I'm going to write this one out actually. I have 4k times k, right? Because I have 2 k's because of the exponent. Underneath, I have 8 and 5k's. Okay? Based on the other rules we learned before, I'm going to cross these out because I paired them up. And all I'm left is with 3. Right? So now, if I move it down here, I have 4 over 8 k to the power of 3. Now I'm not done. I need to reduce my 4 and my 8 because I need to simplify and make it the smallest number I can. So I know the largest number that goes into 8 and 4 is 4. So I'm going to divide just my 4 and my 8 by 4. Leave the k alone. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And I'm left with k to the power of 3. Okay. Now I want you to try the next one on your own based on the second example I did. Pause the video and try it for yourself. Now that you've tried it, let's see what you got. So you can do one of two things. You can do the m's first, or you can do the 9 and the 3. I am going to do the 9 and the 3 first for this one. I know the largest number that both goes into both of them is 3. So I'm just going to divide the 9 and 3 to reduce the front half of my equation. 9 divided by 3 is 3. I'm just going to copy over the m and the 6, m to the power of 6. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. And I have m to the negative 2. So, oh no, I have a negative 2 on the bottom instead of the top. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to move that m to the negative 2 above it and flip. Now, I'm not moving the 3m to the power of 6. I'm just moving this one up. And there'd be an invisible 1 there, and I would flip them, right? Okay, so now I have, I'll move it down here for you. I have 3m to the power of 6 times, because these are all multiplication, right? They're all touching, it means multiplication. M to the power of positive 2. The reason it's positive is because I moved it up. Therefore, it cancels out the negative, and boom, we get a positive. Now I can combine my like terms, right? I have 6 m's here and 2 m's there. If you remember what the rule was, I had to add them together. So now I have 3m to the power of 8. Perfect. Now moving on to this one right here. Same thing. Just moving the negative 6 down to the bottom. So now all I'm left with on top, since I moved that one down, is 13 above. And I have my original x to the power of 3. And I moved down my x to the power of 6. Add them together, and guess what you get? 13 over x to the power of what? 9. And there's your negative rules. Now get ready for the zero exponent, a very special one we're going to learn. Zero exponents. It's going to be so simple you're going to laugh at yourself. Any number, letter, variable to the power of 0 is going to be equal to 1. A giant 1. So anything to the power of 0 is 1, or equal to 1. So I bet you can instantly get the first one right? Okay. So now that we know that anything to the power of anything to the power of 0 is 1, we can easily solve this. Remember, if they're touching, it means multiplication. Add the multiplication symbol until you are fully aware that that's what that means when they're touching, that it's multiplication. So the 7, absolutely doing nothing. What is going to happen here? This matches my zero exponent power. So I know that that equals 1. So essentially, I have 7 times 1. Which is just going to be what? 7. Super duper easy, right? Let's try the next one. If you can remember from the other rules that you learned recently, anytime there's parentheses with an exponent on the inside and an exponent on the outside, you are going to multiply them. So I have on top W, 4 times 2 is 8, over W to the 8. Now there's both 8 minus 8, right? Because this rule states A minus B. So 8 minus 8 is 0. So I have W to the power of 0, which is going to be what? Let's look up. 1. There's your answer. So now try the next one on your own and see if you can solve it. Pause the video and do the next one. Now that you've tried it, let's see if you got the same answer. Just like this one, I need to multiply my 2 2's. So now, on the top, I have L to the power of 4 divided by L to the power of 4. So that means I'm subtracting 4 minus 4. Thus, it's L to the power of 0, which fully means my answer is 1. It's pretty easy, huh? This one's like, anytime there's a 0, it's 1. Now look at this one. Negative 2 times nothing. What's it going to be? Look up here. Remember, x is a placeholder. This could be negative 2, negative 5, 562, whatever number. It's a placeholder. So since this is my placeholder, like the number that's put into my x, negative 2 to the power of 0 is going to be 1. Boom. Okay? So, since you have completed all of the videos and finished taking your notes, remember you don't need to send me your notes. Keep tally of your notes so that way you can use it on quizzes in the future. And go on to Canvas and finish your assignment.